Welcome to the iSearch podcast. Today we have Mark, the head of sales of BigTiny on the show. So in the previous episode, we spoke about the story of BigTiny and also the idea of tiny homes. And today for part 2, I'll be discussing with Mark on how to invest in tiny homes and also earn monthly passive income. So welcome to the show, Mark.
Thank you so much. Thanks for inviting us. Yes.
All right, pleasure. So in your opinion, why are tiny homes getting popular nowadays and in demand in these recent years?
Yeah, I think recently the hospitality demand has changed and shifted so much, especially after COVID. The usage of tiny house has always been for personal use and residential use. So for something like this, we were the first few in the world to actually use tiny house and use it for hospitality. Well, at the end of the day, of course, we did something a little bit more special, which was we actually built our houses on wheels, where our house can be mobile. They can be moved from one location to another. So that also gives us the opportunity to move it to a better curated sites, just in case the occupancy doesn't perform so well. So it is something pretty new that we actually combine everything together, mobility and also sustainability. Yeah, so that's something pretty interesting. I must say that as over the years, especially for the past 2-3 years, a lot of new incomers also entered into the market. Like people who are doing glamping, they also introduces different types of tiny houses. And we also have people who are doing Mingsu. Like for example, in Taiwan also, they have already been running these things for quite a while. So there's a combination of different concepts being mixed together when it comes to this form of hospitality. Yeah.
Like homestay.
Yes, correct. Actually, it's always on the concept of like a homestay or farm stay. If you've ever been to a farm stay over in Australia, then you would have that kind of experience before, where you actually stay with the landowner. They will maybe open up 2 or 3 rooms for you. They make breakfast. They do the farm to table thing. You can do a lot of activities in the farm. So that's always been quite interesting. A lot of people actually enjoy their time over there. It's the experience about back to nature. So what we added on was that we wanted to give people a different kind of experience, your own privacy, your own private space, that you can actually enjoy some me time and your family time. Yeah.
So let's say if for people who stay in tiny homes in overseas, right, what are the typical experience or activities that they do?
Oh, actually, there's so many activities that you can do. That also greatly depends on where is the location of your farm. Now, for BigTiny, we are a little bit unique. We work with private landowners. So these private landowners, they are actually people who actually own vineyards, fruit farms, animal farms, traditional farms, dairy farms. So they have some relevant experience receiving guests. So within the farm itself, by nature, it's got its own, I would say, its own business, its own running. So for guests to actually go to that particular farm, maybe it's something that it's a farm that produces dairy products. Then you can get to experience how they actually make dairy food products. Or even a wine vineyard, how they actually make wine, how they actually bottle and cast the wine and things like that. So of course, we are a little bit picky now in terms of the location that we actually place our tiny houses. The reason because is that besides offering activities that is within the farm, we want people to be able to get outside. So when they get outside, they are able to go to places like, for example, in Australia, there are many creeks, rivers, lakes, then you have those mountain trekking, some water sports, river activities. So there's actually a lot of all these places of interest that people can actually go. We even place them near some of the unique towns. Like some of them, they have old abandoned mines that you can actually visit. Some towns that has got a very local culture, local kind of context for people to go and experience it. Yeah, so it's something a little bit special that we have been trying to do. In the recent years, we managed to add on with our new escape. Then currently now we have one escape over in Victoria, which is called Grampians Escape. So Grampians, we actually pull a few tiny houses in one single location. We currently now have 30 tiny houses in one single location, where we have our own facilities like swimming pool, tennis court, children's playground, barbecue area, common facilities like recreation room and stuff. So people can have a different kind of experience. So in terms of experience, we have actually packed in a lot more since we started to date. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So in terms of investment, right, for people who are interested to invest in a tiny home or co-own a tiny home, how can they get started? And also what are the key terms and also returns that they can expect?
Yeah. Oh, very glad you asked that question. That's the whole idea why I'm here for. So anyway, every country we will have a particular sales team. We actually set up an entity. We also have our own sales office over in the country. And very happy to share with everybody. Malaysia, we also have a sales office. All right, we have sales partner, which is also our relationship manager with our clients. So basically, now anybody in Malaysia, you can be a tiny house owner. All right, there's no stopping you from owning a tiny house that's sitting in Europe, sitting in Australia, in New Zealand, and at the same time, you'll be able to generate passive income. So without the hassle of managing the property, managing the house itself, in terms of the bookings, the stay, the arrangement, and then how to dress up the house, how to manage, who to do the housekeeping, all this is all taken care of by BigTiny. Because what happens is that the moment that you come on board with us to become a tiny house owner, under our sales and management program, we take care of all the care, maintenance, and repairs for you. So there is no hassle at all in terms of management. That's the first part. The second part is that our returns are relatively, I would say, high in compared to many of the products that you can find out there in the market. Currently now, we are actually offering our client for a 2 years lease, you will enjoy a 8% per annum in returns. For a 5 years, you enjoy a 10% per annum in return. What is this 2 years and 5 years lease that we're talking about? Now, the concept for our sales and management program has always been very simple. The first thing is we help you to own a tiny house. Right? Once you own the tiny house, we will rent the house from you so that we will use it for hospitality, which means we will put it on our website, we'll put it on our portal, we'll put it on other people's portal, which is similar to Airbnb, which we are also on board for Airbnb, Bookings.com, Expedia, Trivago, including our own platform called Tiny Away. So there's actually a lot of exposure for the listing itself. And then what happens is that as we generate the income, we pay you, we pay ourselves, we also pay our landowners. So that's how the concept of the program actually works. So for our client, after they own the house, BigTiny will lease the house from them so that they get a monthly rental income. So this monthly rental income can be treated as a passive income, which you are free from all the hassle of managing it. Now, of course, a lot of people always ask, oh, since you pay me 8%, 10% after 2 or 5 years, what's going to happen to me? You know, I own the house. Yes, you tell me, say I own the house. My house over in Australia is over in Thailand or maybe Taiwan or New Zealand. But what if after 2 years or 5, I have got no use of the house? Well, there are several options that you can actually go for. So basically, we offer 3 options for our client. The first one, they can always go for the renewal. All right? They can always take for the renewal. They say, Mark, I'm really happy with my income. Could you continue to manage for me? So the renewal is always on the table for our client. So number 2, they can always take possession of the house. They say, oh, Mark, I don't want this. I don't want you all to manage anymore because I want to be a digital nomad. Now I want to start traveling in Australia. I want to start traveling in New Zealand. I want to start traveling in Europe. You're able to do so. So you can actually take possession of the house and then you can just use it on your own. Or you say, Mark, I've got no use of the house and probably maybe at this point of time, I need some money after 2 years or 5 years. Can I sell the house to BigTiny? Yes, of course. You can always sell the house back to us. And at what price do we buy back from our client? We actually buy the house back from our client at the original price they purchased on day one, which is, for example, if they have bought the house at 300,000 ringgit. So after 5 years, we will buy it back from them at the same amount. So it is more like we protect the value of the house for you. Because technically the house should have wear and tear, over the past 2 years or 5 years, despite, having so many received and so many guests actually enjoyed their stay over there. So there is some wear and tear. So you don't have to refurbish it. We're not asking you to come up with money to refurbish it and then hand it back to us, no, so that we can buy it back at the original price. No, it doesn't work that way. So BigTiny does is that we help you to protect the value of the house. So it doesn't appreciate, neither does it depreciate. Yeah. So we actually locked in the value so that you can sell the house back to us at the original price. So it's where most of my clients, they will choose to look at it like an FD. You say, Mark, you're like an FD, but you pay a lot more than an FD. So it's something similar like
almost
that.
Triple of FD.
Oh, yes, correct. Well, of course, it depends on the country. So Malaysia, the interest rate is not so high. Yeah, the banks are not offering.
3%,
Yeah,
yeah.
not offering so high. Some countries I heard they offer up to 5-6% sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah, there are some countries that actually offer very high interest rate. So it depends on which country you are in. But we do offer a lot of flexibility for our client in terms of at the end of the lease, what are your options moving ahead? Now, at the end of the day, what we are trying to achieve is that we want more people to come on board to drive this movement. Because while you are tiny house owners, while we are running hospitality, both of us and all of us are actually also driving ecotourism here. We are promoting sustainability in terms of the way that we deploy our houses when it comes to deployment, because basically our houses, they are on wheels. So we move in our houses, we plug and play. So there's very minimal damage to the biodiversity of the land itself. And then we actually help everybody to monetize. We help our owners to monetize their funds. We help our landowners to monetize on their land. And then we also help to promote the sustainability of this kind of business model and business concept. So in terms of that, on top of that, we also have ecotourism, because when our houses are not being occupied, there's actually zero carbon footprint to the house. We are committing zero carbon footprint because nothing is running 24/7. Yeah. So there's actually a lot of, I would say some clients share with me, oh, so this is investment with a purpose. Yes, it is. It is. I totally agree with our clients. Yeah.
Got it. So just on the example that you mentioned, right? Let's say if someone invests 300,000 and they go for, let's say, the 5 years term, so they're getting about 10% per annum. So let's say that means 300,000, 10%. Every year they're getting about 30,000 for the next 5 years. So they're getting about 150,000.
Yes, you are right.
By the end of the 5
You
years.
are right.
And by the end of the 5 years, besides getting the 150K, they can also sell you back the house at 300K. So they're getting,
yes, correct. You are right.
yeah, so they're getting about 450K at the end of the 5 years,
Correct.
provided they want to sell back to you. Right?
Correct. If they don't want to sell to us, it's fine. They can continue to earn another 150,000. Yeah. So after 10 years, they
renew
can
for
still,
another 5
correct.
years.
So after 10 years, they can still consider to sell it back to us. Despite the house is 10 years old, we will still buy it back at the original price. Yeah.
At the same price. Okay. So for people who don't want to buy an entire tiny home for 300,000, can they co-own the tiny home?
Yes. Okay. Now, this is not open up for all the countries. So, very happy to share for Malaysians. All right. You can actually co-own a tiny house. That means you can actually choose to co-own it with people you know, or you can choose to co-own with people that you don't know. Now, how do we work it out? So, basically, we broke it down into multiple owners for one single house. All right, that's the co-ownership. So co-ownership comes in multiples of $30,000 ringgit. Yeah, so that's how it works. So one house can never have more than 10 owners if everybody just go for one lot, one share. Yeah, so you can have 10 person all combining together. It can be your friends, brothers, relatives, or whatever. The whole entire family, or 10 of you, or maybe just 3 of you. Everybody takes a certain value. So each value is in multiples of 30,000. That's how it works. Now, besides co-owning with people you know, we also offer you the option to co-own with people that you don't know. And you can come to me and say, hey, Mark, I only have two of my friends who is willing to join us. And then I only have 90,000 here. And then we are quite a long way to go to 300,000. So no worries. BigTiny, what happens is that we will collate all the owners that are keen to come on board to join us in multiples of 30,000. We collate them at the end of the month, and then we would still put them together and we will still deploy the house. And everybody will enjoy their income, their rental income based on the value that they have vested. Yeah. So that's how it works for our co-ownership. So very simple, a much lower entry barrier. All right. If you find that 300,000 at this point of time is a little bit higher notch for you, then you can always go for our co-ownership. Yeah.
So if they go for co-ownership, let's say 30K, so they'll get about 3K per year, and also same at the end of the 5 years, they can sell you back at 30K. Correct. Which is what they put in at the start.
Correct. The benefits itself, everything remains the same. When it comes to care, maintenance, repairs, they're all taken care of. Your 8% and 10% still remains. Your lease term period still remains, and you enjoy all the perks for a full house owner compared to a co-ownership is the same. You enjoy the same. It's just that the value of the ownership is different, that's all. Yeah. So this is something very special that we are offering for our clients in Malaysia. Yeah.
And it's also very passive, because let's say if I buy a house today and I want to rent out, I need to do a lot of things. I need to deal with my
Oh, yes,
tenants.
precisely.
I need to chase them to pay and all this headache. So
Yeah.
for this is everything will be handled by BigTiny,
Correct.
and I'll get either 8% or 10%. 8% if I put it for 2 years, 10% if I put it for 5 years.
Yes, correct. So just to state the point about the 8% per annum and the 10% per annum that you are receiving. All right, instead of paying our client once a year, we don't do that. We pay them every month. Yeah. So just now the one that you mentioned about the $3,000, whether it's a particular lot which is at 30,000 or 300,000 at 30,000, is divided by 12. So every month you will receive income from us. It's not once a year. It's monthly. That's why we call it passive income. Yeah.
Okay, so monthly, let's say 3,000, I'll get about 250 ringgit per month,
Thereabout,
right?
yes.
Credited to my account.
Correct. It goes into your account without fail every month. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Great.
when it comes to this, anybody can own a tiny house. So it doesn't mean that you have to be some high net worth to be able to own a tiny house.
Yeah.
You need to fulfill certain criteria. Whether you are an office worker, you are a blue collar, you are white collar, you are management level, all right, or maybe you are just a retiree, or maybe you are even just a student. Anybody can actually own a tiny house.
Yeah, because the barrier of entry is much lower.
Yes,
like
correct.
30K
correct,
instead
Ben.
of
Yes, you are right.
of your normal house. You need to put in probably 500K to own, like 500K to 1 million to own a house. Whereas this one, you just need to put in 30K. That's like the low cost of barrier to entry. But of course, there is this thing where passive income often has like a negative connotation to it. Like people always think like how legit or how safe is this source of passive income, because it's something that is very new to people.
Yes, actually, I would say that there are one too many products out there that always talk about passive income. For us, it's more like a rental income. Whether you treat it passive or active is very much up to the individual. It's just a matter of usage for terminology. But if you were to dwell deeper into it and say, okay, look, if you are telling me that I'm going to enjoy passive income, sometimes we always ask ourselves, how passive is your passive? What kind of passive income am I talking about? Do I do a little bit of work? Do I do no work? Or do I do quite a fair bit of work? Like there are people who say, earn passive income, that kind of thing. Spend 3 hours, 2 hours, on your computer or on your phone, on social media, and then you generate this kind of income. But there's work involved.
Yeah.
There's work involved. It takes up part of your time. Now, God is always very fair. Every one of us only have 24 hours, correct? So if you need to commit that 2 hours or that 1 hour in order to enjoy the income, if you ask me, is it passive? Yes, it's a form of passive income, but not so passive, right? Because there's actually work involved. There are things that you need to do, whether it's monitoring the market, or just replying messages because you're actually managing some platform or whatsoever. There's work involved. When we talk about our tiny house ownership, our tiny house sales and management, it's truly 100% hassle-free. It's truly 100% passive because there's nothing else we need you to do. It's really that simple, because we take care of everything. So in terms of the management, the booking, in terms of any repairs, care and maintenance, so all these are taken care of by us, even right from the beginning. Because our houses, they are all turnkey unit, meaning they are 100% gas ready after they land themselves in the farm, right? In the location where it's 100% gas ready for our guests to visit and to book anytime that they want. So if you ask me, true passive income, yes, our program do offer you a true passive income. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about, let's say, your guaranteed is for 8% and so 10%, right? So what if certain months where, let's say it's not the holiday season, there's not enough bookings for that tiny home, will the investor still get that payout? Is it like a guaranteed, or is it based on the season?
Okay, now to be very clear about the whole entire concept for the program, just now I mentioned that after we help you to own a tiny house, we actually rent the tiny house from you. Now, imagine today that you own an apartment in KL, yeah? All right, you rent out to someone your 1-bedroom studio apartment. Now, whether this aspect goes back to Singapore or goes back to UK, does this person pay you back rent? Does the person pay you rent also? He's just going back for holiday for 2 months or 1 month, he still pay you, right? Yeah. So it's the same concept. We rent from our client, whether we use the house or not, or whether the house is being used, is being booked, we are still obligated to pay our client. So regardless of occupancy, our clients, which are tiny house owners, they enjoy their income every month regardless. So whether occupancy is good, whether occupancy is bad, peak season or off-peak season, it doesn't matter. Yeah. So our clients are actually very well protected when it comes to that. Because you are free from occupancy. Because there's actually a lot of products out there that tell you, hey, when I'm doing well, then you get paid, you know. When I'm not doing so well, then you don't get paid at all. So that's the kind of uncertainty. I think a lot of us are not so comfortable with uncertainty. Am I right? So if we are not so comfortable with uncertainty, then we want to look for something that is very certain, typically like our FD, correct? There's no market forces that are actually affecting it, you know? So when you look at our tiny house, our concept is actually based on a higher concept. What do I mean by that? It's a higher concept. So we hire the usage of the house from you, and then we reuse the house, which is the physical state of the property, and use it for hospitality. Yeah. So it's a hiring process. It is not a full lease process. It's different from a lease. Yeah. So because we reuse it for another purpose. If I lease it from you, which means I'm the only one that's exclusively using that particular house. Yeah. So for a hire process, it's no difference when it comes to monthly rental, right? Because there is obligation, because I am your tenant and you are actually the landlord.
Okay, got it. So to drive home like the co-ownership program, let's say if someone just have 30,000 and they want to put in the 30,000, they don't have to find the other 9 fellow investor.
Correct.
Right? You will BigTiny will be finding the other 9 for
Correct.
for
We will
us.
find for you. Yeah, we will match it up for you.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's impossible for us to get everybody to sign up on the same day, and everybody to also choose the same lease term, which is the 2 years and the 5 years. So what we do is that we collate them together at the end of the month. All right. Once we form up enough lots to fulfill the house, which is if each house is at 300,000 or 500,000. So once it's being pulled together, it's collate, and then the amount reaches, then we will start manufacturing for the house, and then we will complete it with the deployment.
Got it. So that means, let's say if I put in 30,000 in September, but could there be a scenario where I have to wait until say November for BigTiny to get all of the 10 investor to come in, then only we will start
Okay.
the
Very
payout?
good concern. Well, you don't have to wait for that. All right. So each and individual of our client, all right, they are only subjected to a 3 months waiting time. Okay, this is a 3 months lead time when you come on board, because we don't manufacture ready houses for people to own. Right. So the moment you choose to purchase, you choose to become a tiny house owner, then only we will start production. It's like you going to Mercedes and then you order a Mercedes. They tell you, say 3 months later you come and collect your key. You know, we don't have the ready car yet. So it's the same thing. It goes through the manufacturing process, the fitting up process, and the deployment process. So the only lead time is 3 months. Now, say you come on board on the 10th of August, then I come on board on the 20th of August. But we all came on board during August. So for August, all the total number of owners that come on board, we collate them together, and then we'll start deploying the house. So for August purchase, your first payout date, that means from the day that you purchase to the day that you receive your first payout, your first rental income is going to be in November. So you don't have to wait for others to come on board.
Right. So from the day that they invest, they will wait about 3 months. So after 3 months, then they'll get their first payout, which is let's say 30,000, they'll get their 250 ringgit
in November.
After 3 months,
yes,
basically.
Correct.
Okay, in November.
Correct.
Got it.
That's how fast you get your first rental income. Now, whether the house is deployed improper or whether the house is being listed improper, any delay will be on BigTiny. Yeah. So our clients are not subjected to that kind of wait. Yeah.
Right. And November will be the start of the 2 years or the 5 years.
Correct.
November is considered the first month.
Correct. November is considered the first month. The first month of the 24 months or 60 months of payout.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. So I'm sure that people still have some questions. So for people who wish to know more in person, can they visit your office in Malaysia to know more?
Yes, of course. Now, before I talk about our office, you will constantly always see us also on social media. So whichever the time that you happen to come across our advertisement or whatever, just feel free to click in, and then one of our sales partner will actually reach out to you. Then of course, talking about our office, We do have a physical office over in KL. All right, it is located at KL Gateway. All right, so you can actually visit us. Just reach us from our social media or from our website. You can actually have the full address over there. All right, get someone to reach out to one of our people, and then we will arrange a visit to our this KL office. Now, within our office, we also have a mock-up model. That means a life-size mock-up model of our tiny house. So I would strongly encourage for people who are maybe you're living in the city, you're living in KL City, but you don't want to travel to Rao to go and experience it. You don't need to stay overnight, but you just want to see and feel how the house actually look like. How big is it? Just arrange with one of our sales partner, and then they will attend to you. Yeah.
Okay, great. So we're coming to the end of the episode. So before we go, is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience?
Well, I must say that it's been quite a while that we have established ourselves over in Malaysia. I'm very thankful and very grateful. First of all, to thank all our existing clients who have came on board with us since day one, which is about a year ago, when we have our very first seminar at Sofitel KL. When we launched the sales and management program. So we had a lot of supporters, and ever since then until now, we've worked with many of the collaborating partners over the whole entire year or so. So I must say that Malaysia is a very promising market. All right, that's the reason why we have decided to come into Malaysia. All right, and then recently we have a lot of requests, from a lot of our clients in Malaysia. I said, hey Mark, why don't you open up, for us to own in SGD, so that we actually get paid in Singapore dollars and stuff. Because when we launched our program, we actually offered our client to be able to buy in SGD. Back then, I still remember, our exchange rate was not as, compared to now. There's actually quite a variation. So those clients who actually bought in SGD back then, they're actually generating more income, a little bit more, because of the currency exchange. So currently now we have a few programs, a lot of perks. I think our sales partner will be able to share a little bit more with you when you get in touch with them. So we do offer different currency purchase, and we also offer some perks and as we approach to the end of the year. So we're running some promotions, and especially our new latest event that's coming up over at IKEA. All right, we'll be running some promotions. Well, if you are keen, you can always just go down, talk to any of our sales partners. They'll share with you what is the promotion that we are running. You just might be getting yourself into a much better bargain for this coming month. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. When is like your promotion? I mean, the IKEA event. When is the date?
Yes. Our date starts on the 14th of September, right? Which is on a Saturday. Yeah. So Saturday, the first from the 14th to the 22nd or 23rd thereabout. So we'll be there for about a week. Right, so every day there will be we have staff over there. All right, then you can actually approach any of our staff. All right, to check out our promotions. So if you happen to be free, and you're walking over to IKEA, maybe do some shopping, do pop by our event space. All right, talk to some of our staff. And this time round, very happy to share, we are also going to put the whole entire tiny house in the podium. So we're going to have an actual tiny house there. All right, we're going to set up a mock-up model also for you to experience the size of our tiny house. And then whatever questions you want to ask, just feel free to ask them. Yeah.
Okay. Right.
All right.
Great. So thanks, Mark, for coming onto the show. Check out BigTiny down below, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you, Benjamin. Thanks.